Yo, what is up guys? Apok here, back to you with another Brawl Stars video. Today we're going to be jumping into top 10 tips for you to become successful, push trophies fast, and overall become a better player in Brawl Stars. Now let's get on to the first tip, which is play with a team. Now I know, you probably heard that tip a lot around the community, but it is truly the most, one of the most, if not the most important tip that anyone can give to you, because it is so important to play with a team, especially with the new influx of global players. You know, when you ready up with a random player, random team, you might not get the best players, and that could oftentimes cause you to lose the game and lose trophies, and you don't want to do that. Try to play with a team that you work well with. Good chemistry, use Discord, communication is key. You know, your opponents, there could be a shell in the bush, and then if you're communicating with your teammates through Discord maybe, they could tell you, oh, there's a shell in that bush, and you know you can avoid it, you can survive. So communication is really important. Play with a team that you work well with, and definitely good chemistry as well. Make sure you do join my Discord server, link in the description. It's called the Eternal Family. There's a bunch of pro players and mentors that can help you guys push, and also voice chatting that you guys can use as well. Alright, so next on the list is to watch your health, because it's very, very important to always heal up if you're under half health. If you're half health or below, always find a way to heal up. It is very important that you don't lose your lane, and I'll talk about laning in a little bit later, but it's very important that you're able to win your side. If you go down, that leaves in an opening, that leaves your team to have a 2v3 against your enemy, and that oftentimes could result in a loss. So always heal up. Try not to go too aggressive when you're under half health. It's better to play safe than sorry. Alright, so talking about playing lanes, it's very important that you as a Brawl Stars player take lanes. For example, in League of Legends or Dota or Arena of Valor, people take lanes and they defend their own lane so the enemy doesn't get across their lane. And that's very important in Brawl Stars as well. Let's take Gem Grab, for example. There's a middle lane with the gem carrier. It could be a Penny, could be a Piper, depending on the map. And could be a Poco, a Pam, any of those would work. And then the two sides are the aggressive players that kind of keep the opponents out of the mid. So then you're able to gain mid control, which if you gain mid control, then you gain this, the mine where it produces the gems, and then that'd be a lot easier for you to get all the gems and then win the match. So very important that you keep lanes, play lanes, and you do not lose your lane. Do not die, and that kind of ties back to the last tip. Always watch your health. So yeah. Alright, next tip is to always be mindful of whatever map or game mode that you're currently playing. For example, if you're playing Bounty on a very ranged map, be sure that you don't choose the wrong brawlers for that. For example, maybe a Primo or Mortis is not the best choice for a ranged sniper map. You can get sniped very, very easily. So always be mindful of whatever map you're playing. Are there walls? Are there many walls? In that case, should I use the sniper? You know, Piper. If there's so many walls, I can't really land a shot. Or is it open space where I can use maybe a Mortis and Brawl Ball? Always think of what map it is and what kind of layout it is and what game mode. Of course, you always want to be careful. Because some brawlers, some team compositions are better than others, so it really comes down to playing and experimenting. Next tip is actually something a lot of pro players don't know themselves. A lot of people have a misconception that you start healing when all three of your ammo bars are fully charged, but actually that is not true. The case is you start healing up when the third bar is halfway full. Now, why I'm telling you this is because waiting to attack when you're at fully three bars charged up, wastes maybe a millisecond or two, and that a lot of the times could save you a life. It could save you a life in the game, and very important life as well. So you don't need to wait until the ammo bar charges all the way to number 3. You can wait until it goes to halfway to number 3 and then shoot, and that should heal you already. And if you keep timing that, you don't have to wait until it charges up all the way. You can save time and also save your own life. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, comment down in the description, or not description, comment, and then I'll help you out. But it is something that can save time, and in Brawl Stars, when you're playing pro level or any kind of level at all, it's really important to save time, save ammo, and heal up. Alright, next tip is to always check the bush. Now this kind of ties back to the past tips that I've been giving you. You never want to lose your lane. You can easily give your enemy the advantage to advance and take control of the match. This oftentimes loses you the match as well, unless you can regain mid-control and regain, the dominance in the match. So always check the bush, especially when you're that first initial meetup. When you're going into the battlefield, you always want to win your side. Even after you win, you're going to be at very low health, so make sure you heal up before they regenerate and come back after 4 seconds. They only take 4 seconds to come back, guys. So by the time that they come back, you need to be at full health again, ready to combat them again. So always check the bush. This will help you win the side. Even if you don't see them the first time you check again, because it might be a tank hiding all the way in the back. Keep checking. If you only see 2 brawlers, that's a very likely chance that they are in your bush. So make sure that you check the bush constantly so that no one can pop out and surprise you. If there's somebody that's sneaking behind the bush, don't just leave them there. Go get them, because you remember where they are right now, but in a few seconds when the action is up, you might forget where they are, and they can just peekaboo and pop out and just kill you. So be very careful and check the bush. Next tip is something that a lot of new players really don't do, and it could really help your chances of being a pro player, pushing fast and not wasting your precious lives. And that is to push all your brawlers equally. Push all your brawlers equally. Now, I did this when I first started playing over a year ago, and all I would do is I would just push a single brawler forever and ever and ever, and I would never push my lower brawlers. That's how I got number 1 Nita and at 770 trophies. But you start to realize the higher you grind a brawler up, the less trophies you get, but the more you lose. For example, when I was grinding to 770 Nita or 770 Nita, I gained like 3 and lost like 7. So that's insane. You have to have at least, to make up, you have to have at least a 3 win streak every single time, but then, you lose 1 and win 3. That's like so much time wasted already. Unless you're playing gem grab. In heist, well, we don't really want to play Nita in heist, but like, for example, if you're playing heist, that's wasting like 12 minutes right there. Yeah, so always push your brawlers equally, especially if you have, a few at 300 and then a bunch at 0. You want to push the ones at 0 because, 1, you gain 6 trophies per win. It's a lot faster to push as well, as to compare to playing other brawlers. Because when you're low and when you're at 0 trophies or, at 100, on that specific brawler, you gain a lot more than you lose. So if you do lose, oftentimes it won't hurt you as much as playing a higher brawler and then losing a lot. So be very mindful. I would really recommend you pushing all brawlers equally. So next is rather a quick tip: auto aim. How do you auto aim effectively? Now, when you go closer to pro level, like maybe above 7,000, I would really highly recommend you stop using auto aim as much, because 1, for starters, it will increase your skills tremendously if you start relying on yourself rather than the game to help you aim and shoot your opponents. Second of all, a human aim is much more efficient and accurate than a robot's aiming, the game's aiming. So always be mindful of where you are. You always want to be improving your skills, and using auto aim won't improve your skills because you're not really the one actually aiming. The computer is aiming for you. And then always, if you're going to auto aim only when they're close, and try to manually shoot when they're far away. Now, if you don't think you can hit the shot too far away, you can try auto aiming, but oftentimes not. Shooting that far away, the computer won't be able to land the shots. And the reason why I say auto aim close is because you want to save that time. You know, pushing your finger down on the screen and then dragging and then lifting up to shoot, that takes about a second, and tapping it takes like a millisecond. So that saves times. That saves your time a lot, and oftentimes could also win you the match, win you the 1v1, whatever it might be. Next tip is to actually play with a team that is around your trophies. Now, matchmaking is very broken. Let me just say that. Matchmaking is very broken. If you're playing with people that has over 500, you're going to be guaranteed to be facing pro players, okay? Guaranteed. And you might not have the skills to combat those pro players. So it's a lot better to push with people in your own trophy ranges than playing with pro players. And back again with pro players, play with people in your range rather than playing, you know, with the 300. That's just how it is. If you're playing on a mini, that's why a lot of times you see pros going on minis helping other people push. But yeah, it's a lot better to play with your own trophy range than playing with somebody way out of your league or under your league, because it really doesn't help both of you guys, and it puts the entire team at a disadvantage because of the different skill range. Last of our 10 tips is to play on a device that you cannot live without. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, I already play my phone. But I've been playing this game for a very long time. And I remember when I didn't have my phone, I would switch on an iPad. Oh my god, no. Dude, stick with whatever device you're playing. If you change, you can guarantee your skills will go from 100 to 20 or a 0 and like that, okay? So play on a device that you cannot live without, that you have. A lot of people, you know, they have bigger hands. I have rather smaller hands, so I play on my phone. But if you have bigger hands or whatever, you know, you like iPad more, then play on it. If you like a bigger screen, play on that. Play on whatever device that you feel most comfortable. If you're new, feel free to switch out whatever, and test whatever device that you work well on, work best on, and I would recommend you start playing that, practicing on that device as well. And then finally, well, to tie in locked movement controls versus unlocked movement controls. Personally, I use unlocked because I just rather, you know, be able to scoot the joystick up and see the very bottom left corner of the screen when they're hiding down there. A lot of other people like to use locked movement controls, and that keeps the joystick in place. I don't really like that. I would recommend you guys try it out as well and see whichever one you work well with. Everyone has a different preference, so I would definitely check out all the preferences and kind of mix and match and work on whatever makes you have an advantage in the game. You don't want to play locked movement controls or unlocked and then be like, oh, I don't like this, but you keep playing it. That wouldn't really give you an advantage, so always check that out. And lastly, I know, but try to play with your game music on, actually. Sometimes it helps you figure out what's happening. You can oftentimes, the music tells you when somebody dies, actually, so you can always keep track of that. I know you can always look on the screen, but I don't always look there when people die. So keep that in mind. I would mix and match settings and see what fits you and your personal liking. But guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, join my Discord server and join my family band in Brawl Stars. And for next time, I'll be making more guides as well for you new players or veteran players who just like to maybe learn something new. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you all in the next video.